You guys, another week has passed and first things first, I wanna introduce myself and the channels for those who are new to the channel. So, hello there, I'm Michael. I'm currently doing a series where I try to create a game from scratch using the pre-programs like Blender and Unreal Engine 5. And currently, I'm working on this project solo at the moment. So if you wanna team up, let's do this. Please contact me. And now for my contents on this channel is about the time lapse of what I work on a specific day. And long story short, we are currently doing a retopology process, which to be more specific is optimizing the polygon count of our meshes. So when we try to import it to Unreal Engine 5, it doesn't lag as much and make the game literally unplayable. So we don't want that. And lastly, I wanna mention about my game because I am keep talking about it. So the game is about a story of you guys who will try to play a character or experience it firsthand what it's like to have an existential experience happening in your head. And as the game's story progresses on, you guys will have an mission to solve that mental health issue through a large amount of trial and error as well as reflections of each events. And if you ask me, that is a cool game concept if I say so myself. And yeah, definitely worth try creating, right? And now I wanna add a spoiler for what is about to come on this week, and that is we also will be finished on the retopology process finally, and finally add animations to our meshes and make our character feel alive with animations, with the methods of rigging and animation related stuff like that, and not just T-posing all the time, and yeah, so expect this week to be exciting week. That is all I will say about it. And yeah, guys, that is all I wanna say. And without further ado, let us get into the day 92 of the series of making a game. Alright guys, today is day 92 of making a game, and as usual, let us start the day by reviewing yesterday's accomplishments. And without further ado, let us get into it. So here's a clip of Michael talking about it. So guys, before we start the review, let me first state what exactly I did yesterday. So basically, here is the following. First, we finished the third hairstyle retopology process. And second, we also finished the ear retopology process, which is good news. And lastly, we just started the retopology process for the shoes and left it unfinished because, as we said on yesterday, we ran out of time finishing it. And with that in mind, let us start the review. So I brought along some pictures of yesterday's works because I believe that to some of you guys will not understand what I'm saying if I start talking about retopology stuff, terms like an edge flow and stuff like that. And I also prepared some arrows on top of these pictures, so this is the review is going to work. So basically, the idea is that the more compact and organized the arrows are, and it doesn't zigzag everywhere, the higher the quality of our yesterday's product retopology has been. So let us start the review. So for the finally finished hairstyle version of our game character, as we can see on the arrows, it is compact and organized and doesn't zigzag, so I think it is safe to assume that the mesh isn't a trash quality. And now for the finished ear retopology process, as we can also see on the arrows, it is compact and organized, so I think the mesh is not a trash quality, same as for the third hairstyle. And lastly, for the unfinished shoes mesh, as we can also see on the arrows, it is compact and organized, so I think it is safe to assume that it isn't going to be a trash quality, even though we are still too early to decide that since it is still unfinished. And yeah guys, that is all for the review, and with that said and nothing else left to say, let us get back into you, Michael. And with the yesterday's accomplishments reviewed, let us finally start the day. So let me put the main objective on top of the screen as usual, and I have to say that some of the time lapse is replayed, but we are not gonna include that in the results section, so it doesn't get mixed up in the PowerPoint documentation. And Basically, what I did for today, as you probably seen on the screen as well as on the time lapse, is that we finished the retopology process of the last sculpted eyebrow design, meaning we're gonna be moving on to the next stage of the game development, creation of the character, which is making the animations for our retopologized mesh. So stick around for that, and with that said, see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, today is day 93 of making a game, and as usual, let us start the day by reviewing yesterday's accomplishments, and without further ado, let us get into it. So here's a clip of Michael talking about it. So guys, before we start the review, let me first remind you guys once again what we did yesterday. So basically what we did is that we finished the retopology processing of all our sculpted meshes and basically setting up for the next stage of game development, which is making animations of our game character. And with that said, let us start the review. So I brought along some pictures of yesterday's work as usual, because I believe that to some of you guys will not understand what I'm saying if I start talking about retopology stuff like edge flow. And I also brought along some arrows as well that will indicate the edge flow of our mesh, which is necessary for the review. So this is how the review is going to work. Basically, the thought is that the more organized and compact the arrows are and doesn't go over the place and zigzags, the higher the quality of our mesh will be. And so, let us start. So for the very last sculpted mesh, so as we can see on the arrows, it is compact and organized and doesn't go over the place. So I think it is safe to assume that the mesh of yesterday's retopology process isn't a trash quality. And yeah guys, that is all for the review, and with that and nothing else left to say, let us get back into you, Michael. So with the yesterday's accomplishments reviewed, let us finally start the day. So let me put the main objective above the screen as usual, and for those who are new to the channel, here's a context for you on myself and as well as the channel. So hello there, my name is Michael, and I'm doing a series about me making a game from scratch and learn as I go in format of time lapses to show you guys my proof of work. And I have the strong belief that making this project game of mine is worth it, because this game will be a hell of an experience to play, and I have to promise you guys that. And currently I have to say that now that we have finished the retopologizing the sculpted meshes, it's time to move on to setting up the next stage, which is rigging for animation purposes. And what I have done for today, as you probably seen on the screen and on the main objective above the screen as well as on the time lapse, that is that we have done some fixes on the meshes for bending animation purposes, and also set up the rigging or bones of our game character. And yeah guys, that is all what I did for today, and with that said, see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, today is day 94 of making a game. We are so close to 100 guys, and as usual, let us start the day by reviewing yesterday's accomplishments, and without further ado, let us get into it. So here's a clip of Michael talking about it. So guys, before we review this, let me first state what we did yesterday again. So basically what we have done is fix all the joints of our game character for the bending in animation setup, as well as set up the rigging for the bones in the mesh. And with that in mind, let us start the reviews. And as usual, I bring some pictures of yesterday's work here to visualize what actually I am talking about. And I also reference images to make it easier for you guys to follow along with the visualization. And with that said, let us start. So for the fixes on the joints of our meshes, as you can see and compare it to the reference arrows, both the arrows represent the edge flow is the same. So I think it's fairly easy to say that I did that easy. And now for the rigging operation, as you can see on the triangle stuff that represents the bones of the human body of our game character mesh, it is also similar to the reference image. So I think it is fairly safe to say that we also did good job at it. And yeah guys, that is all for the review, and with that said and nothing else left to say, let's get back into you, Michael. And with the yesterday's accomplishments reviewed, let us finally start the day. So as usual, let me put the main objective on the top of the screen. as usual. So, and I believe that to some of you guys are still new to the channel, so let me have a short introduction about myself and the channel for context. So hello there, my name is Michael, and I'm currently doing a series where I try to create a game from scratch. And to some of you might ask, what is the game all about? Well, the game is about a story where you will experience firsthand what it's like to have an existential mental health crisis, and as you play the game more, you will learn how to solve it on your own thoughts. And if I say so myself, and if I manage to pull this off, I think it's worth a try for my first game creation, right? And let us get back on track. To the topic of what I did for today's. And as you probably seen on the screen as well as on the time lapse, what I did is finish the retopology fixes for the joints and finish the retopology process as well on the forgotten accessory, which is the classes, and as well as color as our first game character. And lastly, started the setting up the controls for the rig to make the animations finally accessible for us and make our character finally move and not just stay pose all the time. And yeah guys, that is all I did for today, and with that said, see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, today is day 95 of making a game, and as usual, let us start the day by reviewing yesterday's accomplishments, and without further ado, let us get into it. So here's a clip of Michael talking about it. So guys, before we review this, let me first remind you guys once again what we did yesterday. So basically what we did is the following. First, we finished the retopology fixes for the joints. Second, we also finished the retopology process of the forgotten accessory, which is the glasses. And third, we as well color our first game character, and lastly started setting up the controls for the rig and to make the animations finally accessible for us. And yeah, with that in mind, let us start the review. So as usual, I brought along some pictures of yesterday's work here to visualize what I have done. And so for the finished retopology fixes on the joints, I brought along a comparison as well as prepared some arrows too for the review. And as you can see, it is pretty much similar to the reference arrows, so I think we did a good job for that one. And moving on, for the finished forgotten retopology, I also prepared some arrows for it, and the thought is that the more compact and organized the arrows are, the higher the quality of the retopologized mesh has been. And with that in mind, you can also see it is compact and organized, so I think it's safe to assume that we did also a good job at it. And for the coloring of our game character, as you can see, the color is pretty much simple, but I think that is good enough for the demos we are making. And lastly, for the setting up the controls for the rig, it is just a picture for now, and basically I learned something on YouTube about IK and FK stuff on animations, and that is we are trying to create here. And yeah guys, that is all for the review, and with that said and nothing else left to say, let us get back into you, Michael. And with yesterday's accomplishments reviewed, let us finally start the day. And I believe to some of you guys are still new to the channel, so let me have a short introduction about myself as well as the channel for context. So hello there, I'm currently doing a series where I try to create a game from scratch, and currently I am solo, and to show proof of that, I use time lapses of my work. And yeah, with that in mind, let us get back on track. And today isn't really a big of a deal really guys, because I was just trying to configure the controls for the rig, both arms and legs, and that is capable of switching between FK mode and IK mode in animation preparation. And yeah guys, that is all I did for today, and with that in mind, see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, today is day 96 of making a game, and we are getting near to the 3 digits milestone guys. And as usual, let us start the day by reviewing yesterday's accomplishments, and without further ado, let us get into it. So here's a clip of Michael talking about it. So guys, before we review this, let me first remind you guys once again what we did yesterday. And basically, it is just simple, and it is just setting up the controls for the rig bones of our character mesh. And with that in mind, let us start the review. So I brought along some short clips of what exactly the IK mode and FK mode of our game character for our animations. And let me explain how both mode will be useful for us in the future. And so, for the FK mode, it is great for rotations in animations, but doesn't do a good job getting a muscle stuck in place. Like an example is a hand stuck on a table, and that is where the IK mode shines in animation will do. And make some limb stuck in place, like a hand example where FK mode is terrible at. And as you probably see on the videos of our rig created, both IK and FK and IK mode works, so I think it is safe to assume that we are getting closer to finally starting the animation phase, which is exciting. And yeah guys, that is all for the review, and with that said and nothing else left to say, let us get back into you, Michael. And with yesterday's accomplishments reviewed, let us finally start the day. So let me put the main objective on top of the screen as usual, and for those who are new to the channel, let me introduce myself as well as the channel for context. So hello there, my name is Michael, and I'm currently doing a series where I try to create a game from scratch, and to show my proof of work to you guys is I show my time lapses of a specific day, just as you can see on the screen. And yeah guys, currently I'm working on this project of mine solo, so probably needed to recruit some people later to make the process of game development faster, who knows, right? But yeah. Hey guys, as you probably heard earlier, we are on the day 96 mark, where 3 digits number or day 100 plus is near. And yeah guys, I am proud of it making this far. Like months ago, we come from nothing, and it is documented throughout this channel. You can look out for it yourself. And yeah guys, let's get back on track for what I did for today. And as you probably see on the main objective of the screen as well as on the time lapse, what I did is basically finish setting up the controls for the rig, and I haven't gotten to the animations part yet because when I tried to connect the mesh to the rig bones, the problem appeared and the mesh is twisted and on the legs, and I ran out of time trying to fix the issue. And yeah guys, that is all what I did for today, sadly. And with that said, see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, today is day 97 of making a game, and we're 3 days away from 3 digits milestone guys. And as usual, let us start the day by reviewing yesterday's accomplishments. So without further ado, let us get into it. So here's a clip of Michael talking about it. So guys, before we review this, let me first state what exactly we did yesterday. So basically what we did is that we finished setting up the rig bones for our character mesh, and that is needed for the animation making animation. And sadly, I have encountered a problem as stated yesterday where the mesh is twisted on one foot, and I have to fix it first. And with that in mind, let us start the review. And as usual, I bring along some pictures of yesterday's work as well as the picture of the problem of the twisted mesh form, and let us start. So for the finished rig control setup, as we can see on the pictures, it is done through the bones with the colors that shows the bone constraints for both IK and FK mode setup, and that are present in parts that matter, which are the arms and the legs. And yeah guys, I think it is safe to assume that the animation phase is finally accessible for us. Of course, if we fix first this problem where the connection of the mesh is twisted. And yeah guys, that is all for the review. And with that and nothing else left to say, let us get back into you, Michael. And with yesterday's accomplishments reviewed, let us finally start the day. So let me put the main objective on the top of the screen as usual, and I believe that some of you guys are still new to the channel, so here is a short context for you guys about myself as well as the channel. So hello there, my name is Michael and I welcome you to the channel, and I'm currently doing a series where I try to create a game from scratch, and as you probably heard from the start, we are on day 97 currently. And as you probably can see on the screen, that is the time lapse of what I did as proof of work. And yeah guys, I'm also proud of the series I'm creating myself, because I also can't believe that we are on day 97, you know, and basically saying that 3 days away from 3 digits milestone counter, yeah. And spoiler alert, the big announcement will be happening on day 100, so stick around and also subscribe to follow along with the series if you haven't already. And with that context said, let us finally get back on track for what I did for today. As you probably see on the main objective as well as on the time lapse, what I did is basically fix the mesh twisted problem stated yesterday, and also finish the finally started animating in RPM's first game character. And the first animation will be walking, and yeah, have our camera and basically not make our game character not just peoples all the time. That's all what I want to say. And yeah guys, that is all what I did for today, and with that said, see you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, today is day 98 of making a game. Oh man, we are really 2 days away from day 100 guys, and it is kind of exciting. And as usual, let us start the day by reviewing yesterday's accomplishments, and without a further ado, let us get into it. So here's a clip of Michael talking about it. So guys, before we review this, it is best to remind you guys once again what we did yesterday first. So basically what we did is fix the twisted mesh problem encounter, as well as started doing our first animation, which is walking for the game character, and finally at long last, right? And with that in mind, let us start the review, and as usual, I bring along the picture for the fixed twisted leg mesh problem, as well as the video for the walking animation we just did yesterday. And let us start. First, as we can see on the picture, it is fixed on the leg mesh problem now, which means the animation phase is finally accessible for us, which we did do. And now for the walking animation clip, as we can see it is only the lower body that is moving because we ran out of time once again yesterday, but still looking at the walking animation, it still feels a little bit awkward to some areas, but we are getting there, to say the least, with our first animation attempt. And I want to say that animation is kind of fun to do because it feels like the character is alive, you know, compared to it just T-posing all the time. And yeah guys, that is all for the review, and with that said and nothing else left to say, let us get back into you, Michael. And with the yesterday's accomplishments reviewed, let us finally start the day. So as usual, let me put the main objective on top of the screen real quick, and I believe that so some of you guys are still new to the channel, so let me have a short introduction about myself as well as the channel for context. So hello there, my name is Michael, and I'm currently doing a series where I try to create a game from scratch, and as you probably heard from the start of the video, we are on the day 98, which is 2 days away from day 100 counter. And my content is composed of a time lapse of a specific day's work of how guys to show you guys my proof of work, and actually finish the game, and doesn't take forever to finish, right? And yeah, and with that context stated, let us get back on track to what I did basically for today. And as you probably seen on the main objective as well as on the time lapse, what I did is basically finish the walking animation by completing the upper body of the walking animation earlier and yesterday, and as well as try to figure out how to switch animations so I can make other important animations in the game, which is coming up later. And yeah guys, that's what I did for today, and with that said, see you guys tomorrow. Yo guys, this is a message for all of you guys, as well as the special message of the week for day 92 to day 98 of the series. Basically, I want to give a lesson to you, all of you guys. I have learned doing this series so far is that, you know, the saying where the more you go to a hard task and keep going, the easier it becomes. Well, since we are on the day 98 of the series of making a game already, I'm already experiencing it to be true. Like compared to the first day of the series, I have a really hard time starting this series and don't know basically where to start. But compared to it now, which is the day 98, which is 2 days away from 3 digits, and yeah guys, I can't believe it either, man. And we are already on day 98, which points back to the saying that when you do something hard for a long enough time, it definitely gets easier, and you just kind of autopilot of doing it. Like, think of something you always done. As we really think about it, all of the things that we always do, like doing the dishes, sure, it is annoying to do on early attempts, and now that we have done it enough times, I hope so, it really comes to the point that where we just don't find it annoying as before. Does that make sense? I hope so. And yeah, guys, you should really think about it. Here's the saying once again: the more we do something hard tasks, and turn it into a part of our life, it somehow gets easier. And I am experiencing it right now. And that I have come to eh, that I have come grinded for 98 days of working on this game dev series of mine. And lastly, I really wanted to thank all of you guys for watching my videos, following along this mini series of mine, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, guys, thank you. Thank you. It really makes me motivated to keep going as well as finish the game in time. And yeah, guys, that is the video. Peace out.